In this video, we're going to learn about user selections. In other words, we're going to prompt the user to select something and then we're going to use that object. In this context, our example is going to be having the user select 2 points where 2 pulleys would be, and then we're going to calculate using those points the distance that a belt would have to be to go around 2 pulleys at those 2 points. So we're going to be here in the help documentation on the user interface.select entity help page. So as you can see, if we have a user interface object, so if we do the UI.select entity, and then we need a prompt and a filter as our parameters. First is a prompt, and it's a string. It's any sentence that we want to put out to the user to tell them maybe to select a point or select a cylinder. And then there's also going to be a filter, and this is going to allow us to limit the user on what they can actually select. So let me open up some of these filters. So if we look at this list here, we have a list of all types of filters. And so I could say faces, and that way only faces would be highlighted when they scroll over it, and they could only select faces. I could also do edges or points. In my situation, I'm going to do a cylindrical face. So if they're going to select a pulley, you could either do the inner cylindrical face of that pulley, or if there's going to be a certain peg that a pulley would be mounted on, they could select that cylindrical face. Once the user selects a cylindrical face, it's going to give me a return value of a selection. Now this selection is an object, and it has several different properties. In my case, it's really useful to use the point property. I can get the point of that object and then use that point to calculate the distance between the 2 pegs. So let's go ahead and look at this example. So like I said, we first grab the user interface. I'm gonna send a message box to the user interface telling them to select 2 cylindrical faces. So like we saw in that code, we have UI.select entity. Then we first have a prompt, and I'm just going to say select a cylinder, and then we have our filters. This is only going to allow them to select cylindrical faces. So if they highlight over a point or a face or a body or an edge, nothing will happen unless it's a cylindrical face. And then we do it again. I get another cylindrical face, and then I'm going to grab the point of each of these cylindrical faces and then use those 2 points to calculate the distance between them. So let's go ahead and run this and open up Fusion 360 and see that I have a message box here. Prompts me to say, oh, select 2 cylindrical faces. And first of all, if I hover over something, we can see a little message saying select a cylinder. That was my prompt. And now, as you can notice, if I hover over anything else, nothing is highlighted or selectable. But as soon as I go over a cylindrical face, I can select that. And then it says select another cylinder. This is my second prompt. And I can select a second cylinder. And I use that to calculate my distance, and it says the needed belt length is a certain distance there. So that's using the user interface to prompt the user to select objects that we can then use later.